Hey, this is Ephraim from Multicultural Leadership Network. Thank you once again for those that will be joining me later, or if you watch these later on. Thank you so much for taking the time out to be with me here today. We always want to start with acknowledgement. We would like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land on which we gather today. We pay our respects to their elders, past and present. We extend that respect to Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. We don't take that lightly. We respect them a lot. Thank you for joining me. If you missed any of the previous session, this is number 5. It's not so much of wanting to talk. We just want to provide some more visibility, join our voice to those already out there for the sake of culturally diverse communities. We are all in this together. Like I said, you can go ahead and look at all the different episodes. We've done a lot for employment, business, family, and then we did something around the branding yesterday. Today we're touching on a subject which we think it's very important, whether you are a senior person yet or not. We will all get to age. Of course, some people go earlier, but it's our wish that everyone get to that point of being called a senior. It's actually a privilege, you know. But just before that, just to sort of recap, this is Multicultural Leadership Network. Just to make sure that it's an affiliate of Multicultural Professional Bridge. We've got a caption which is showing up. It's not as if we're trying to look for jargons, but we believe it's timely. It's timely for culturally diverse people to show up, and it's not pride, like we always say. Showing up, it's not showing off. We're not calling people to show off, but it's time to take your place around the table. It is time to show your worth because we know you have value. It is time to show up to the occasion at various levels. But the key message for this particular series is a call to participate. We know we are trying to ride on the wind of election because Australia right now, there's a big boss around the corner. We are electing the highest level of government. People of parliament, from where the prime minister is also appointed. So we're riding on that, but it's not just about election. Election is Saturday here. I know a lot of people already voted. So it's not about trying to just talk about election. We are not politicians in the real sense of it. But we are trying to add voice to this period, because it's a very important period. It's a time to demonstrate democracy. And Australia has one of the best model of democracy. You can go out there and choose your leader. So we are saying it's not enough to sit on the fence, because sometimes some core people think it's okay to be humble to take the back seat. That is why we are saying it's time to show up, not just keep taking a back seat. We also know that there's time to be humble. Yes, we're not against such virtues, but when it's time to show up, when it's time to participate, when it's time to show your true color of value, don't sit back, right? Sisters, brothers, it's not time to sit back. It is time to show up. It's time to participate. And we are just trying to highlight some key factors to consider. Again, beyond Saturday, the 21st May of voting, but some key things, all stakeholders, not just only core people, some few things to consider. And everything we do, we try to bring balance because in talking about representation, we must also promote balance. We come from a place of we are all in this together. We're not saying we are better than anyone, but it's also good to have balance. It is good to have representation. And that is why the topic of today is so important. You know, when we talk about aging, consider the current parliament, at least the 46th parliament, where more or less 20% or even less of the population are making some key decisions that affect 100%. And we're not saying that we're not making progress, there's progress. But for the people around the table right now at the parliament office, how many will really understand when we talk about aging in the culturally diverse? How does it affect us? I know sometimes they will call for white papers, they will call for consultative forums or fora, they will call for different submissions. Yes, I've been involved in one of those, but submission is not representation. Submission is not lived experience. There's nothing like having someone around the table who has lived experience or who have close relative with lived experience of how culturally diverse people age and what are the big ticket items for them. Because we are in this together. We cannot leave anyone aside or behind. Again, we know that life expectancy for Australia is one of the best. I actually researched that in one of my books. It's one of the highest. But really, what about culturally appropriate care? So many times when you have, I do lead this kind of conversations amongst cult people or culturally diverse people, and often it is very tensed because many times we don't have solution. We are caught in between various, if you like, forces pulling us in different directions. In one of the direction, we know that Australia life expectancy is very high. The quality of life and aging, it's one of the best in the world, at least compared to where some of us have come from. Can you afford to go back? Because despite the life expectancy, the lack of culturally appropriate care sometimes make people, as they get closer to that age, culturally diverse people start struggling with the tension. Do I go back? Do I stay? Do I go back to where I know they will care for me the way I really would like? Or the way my culture has made me to understand? Or do I stay and enjoy the high quality of care and life expectancy in Australia? So you can see why sometimes it's a very tense situation. And unfortunately, some core people suffer a lot. Mental health, once they start getting to that age, and some other situations. And not just them. That is why this topic is not just for the seniors. Their children sometimes also feel the tension because at that age, you don't know what to do as a child. You don't know how what will make your parents to be happy with you by caring for them the way you know how to care for someone best in the Western world. So these are some of the issues. And I really don't think we have the representation in our parliament now. And I'm sorry to say, looking at the profile of the candidates for Saturday, I don't think we will have it in the next 47th parliament. But I think call people as part of showing up, we need to start thinking strategy. We need to start thinking, looking forward. That is why in some of our hashtag, we are now saying MLN 2025. Because, hey, it will be so beautiful. Let me speak like Martin Luther King a little bit. I have a dream that in 2025 Parliament, 48 Parliament, we will have better representation. That's a dream. Can I do it alone? No. Can anyone do it alone? No. And we're not saying to take up any arms here. Thank God for Australia. We are peaceful people. And core people, culturally diverse people, are largely peaceful. But it is time to show up. It is time to lead the conversation. It is time to lead the action. It is time to vote. Even though Saturday looks a bit late, but please vote. Vote the change you want. Start facilitating the change that we want in a legal, consultative way. We cannot afford to do this alone. That's why we're not talking about exclusivity here. We are all in this together. I can see that one person is sticking with me here, and maybe a few more. Please leave a comment. It's always good to have this as a conversation rather than a monologue. Even if it's just to say hello, I really want to acknowledge you. Thank you for sticking with me. For those that are online currently, we appreciate this. So this is where the tension usually come from for culturally diverse people. We want to enjoy the life expectancy, the high quality of life in the Western world. Some of us that know where we are coming from, we know what it is. You couldn't get it as good as in a place like Australia. I can say that. But at the same time, there is always that gap in a few cases. Some people adapt. People that know me know that I'm a big promoter of the need to adopt. We need to adopt the system we are in to a great extent. Actually, the left picture of these seniors was taken from one of my books, which I really talk about adopt, adapt, achieve. You can't be in a place and not adopt part of the system. We can't keep being exclusive and expect to enjoy the place. But there's also a need to adapt. And some people have done well, even in this issue of aging. Some of the culturally diverse people are going to aged care homes. They're coming together to reality. And some of them are doing well. They're enjoying life. Some of the aged care homes are the best. I've been to a few. But it doesn't change the reality of this other situation, the culturally appropriate care. And Time will not permit us to go into some of those factors. I do this regularly as a bigger facilitation. Not that I know everything, but I think I've come of age and I have people around me and I do my research enough to know that there's a place for culturally appropriate care. And the right representation will move us in the right direction along that line. So these are some of the big issues. And like I always argue with the iceberg story, what people see, even about aging, all these arguments in terms of the way go or not go back, the issue of culturally appropriate care, where people have been trying, but it looks like we're not making significant efforts in that direction. It's not going to change as much as it should if there is not better representation. Because some of those factors, the issue of culturally appropriate care, will be driven by government policies, laws, and key decisions. And who are the policymakers? Who are the lawmakers? Members of parliament. Do we have that representation in parliament to understand some of these factors that drive culturally appropriate care? And I want to validate some called community that have already taken matters into their hand. And that is showing up. You hear sometimes we now have Jewish homes. We have a few people of I think I've known about the Greek, the Italian. They begin to have their own aged care facilities. Unfortunately, some people are missing out. But it comes back to my point again. For us to drive representation, it has to start from culturally diverse people. Most of the time, no one can do for you as a culturally diverse person what you can do for yourself. Yes, let's lead, let's drive, let's show up, and then we can expect other stakeholders to rally in support of us, including the government. But we cannot depend on the government for everything. Those communities that have now had their own culturally appropriate care, they took matters into their hand legally. They showed up for their communities. And I'm sure the government later on found a way to support them. We are all in this together. That is why one of our hashtags as well is we are in this together, but we must take the lead. Yes, I don't like going beyond 20 minutes in these sessions. Once again, thank you for everyone that has been with us. I would have loved to say hello for the people online currently, but I also understand that some people prefer to stay at the background. But I appreciate you for being with me for this session. Hopefully, we can engage them more. Like I said, this is Multicultural Leadership Network. Let's keep leading. Let's keep showing up. And I'll see you around. Check our social handles for the other episode. Thank you so much. All the best. Bye-bye.